Welcome, y'all. It's Wes with DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's episode, we're talking about mock scrapes and do they work? And if so, how do we make those work best for us where we have the most success hunting over those? And what are some of the tips that I would give somebody who's never used mock scrapes or not used them with a lot of success? I was one of those critics for a long time on mock scrapes. But last fall, I did a lot of experimenting, and I'm really excited to bring this episode to you, as I had a lot of luck using these last year, and I want to show you exactly how I did that and what are some of the areas that we're looking for to put those mock scrapes in where we'll have the most amount of success. My name is Wes. I run the channel DIY Food Plot Pro. I've got a Bachelor of Science in Agronomy. I farm for a living, and I've got a 2,900 acre white-tailed deer hunting outfitter in Western Kentucky where we cannot bait. So we rely heavily on food plots that I produce on the channel to hunt, hold, and harvest the mature bucks that we're blessed to hunt here in Western Kentucky. I've not been shy on the channel explaining how the bad luck that I've had with mock scrapes. Last year, I did a lot of experimenting with mock scrapes, and I had a tremendous amount of good luck with them, and I wanted to bring this episode to you guys, as this is about the time that we need to be putting these things out. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, what products I use, and what I look for in these areas that I had the most success with. So many of us that hunt in ag country, that hunt in high density deer zones, we know that scrapes are something that are very common. So any ag field, any food plot that I have, I'm going to have a minimum of 6 scrapes around the edges of those. If you talk about a 15, 20 acre ag field, you're talking about 20 plus scrapes in that one field. Are those scrapes the ones that we're looking to put mock scrapes on? Traditionally, I would say no. I'm looking for areas where I can get deer into close range for a bow shot. We can't bait here. We have no minerals, no corn, no nothing. If you don't grow it in the plot, you can't use it, okay? So mock scrapes are something that we can use legally around here, and they're something that's naturally occurring in our landscape. But finding those areas that are the best set up for mock scrapes are kind of difficult at times around here because we have so many deer. There's a tremendous amount of natural sign. We are in a high density deer zone. We're well over 100 deer per square mile. It's very difficult to get ahead once the deer kind of get out of control. All our deer have twins around here, so it's very hard to shoot enough does to be able to get ahead of the herd and to keep the density where we really would like it. For mock scrapes, in the past, I'd always put those in areas where kind of on the edge of a field, kind of like the natural ones that we always see around the plot. And those aren't the best places for mock scrapes. Mock scrapes are really good next to bedding where we have good access. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to congregate these deer to an area where they're already at, but we're trying to put them in one spot for a good bow shot or a rifle shot if you're rifle hunting. But typically we're using mock scrapes in the early part of the rut. The pre-rut period is when I'm using them in October. There's a ton of information online about mock scrapes, no question about it. Everybody's got their own design, their own rope, their own whatever to put out mock scrapes, and I've tried a ton of them, and I've not had a lot of success in the past. But last year I went and I put out several, and I had a lot of luck with them, and I wanted to bring this video to you today to show you exactly how I did that. We're in a perfect area for a mock scrape because we have bedding over here and we have a mature hardwoods over here. So we've got a natural area of a transition zone very, very close to bedding. So that is absolutely key in this process, is having this mock scrape really close to this bedding area. That gives you a shot throughout the entire day. If we're hunting a scrape on the edge of a field, we're mainly looking at that scrape to hunt over the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes of the day. That's mainly when we're looking at those scrapes, whereas this scrape here will be good all day long. And you're just as likely to kill one in here at 11 o'clock or midday as you are during the first 30 minutes of the morning and the last 30 minutes of the evening. We're looking for these areas close to bedding areas that have food, that are basically on their way to food. So we've got food directly behind us down here, and we've got this road. It's an old logging road. It takes you directly down to that field of soybeans that these deer are gonna hit heavily all through the month of October until we get a frost. So this sets up perfect for a mock scrape because, in my opinion, there's already a good area here for these bucks to be using. There's already a reason for them to be here. We're close to their bedding, we're close to their food, we're in a transitional cover area where deer, especially mature bucks, like to hang out at during the daylight hours. So this makes this spot really, really good. As you can see, we've got a lot of overhanging branches here. Now, I've had luck with cutting grapevines. I did that last year. I cut some grapevines, they're about 3/4 of an inch, dropped them down to about this high. I spread the product that I used on them, and it worked really, really well. I got a lot of daylight pictures on those logging roads. So I'm doing the same thing here on a different farm this year. We're gonna try it here. There's a scrape here, and there's 2 more down here that I've made. This area is always kind of a natural area for scrapes to occur anyway. I just want to kind of get that process started and get these bucks kind of keying in on this one area where I've got a really good chance with my bow to harvest one of these bucks. Last year, I used this product, Black Widow Branch Butter Gel. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but it works really, really well. It's a preorbital forehead gland. So you can see we've got a branch here that's kind of naturally already a licking branch. This tree is still alive. I don't want to be touching this. This is something that when I'm doing this, you don't want to have your hands all over this. All I do is I take a little bit of this branch butter. You can squeeze it out. It'll come out kind of as a gel. You just take that and you rub this down this tree. A lot of guys say put on a little bit. I kind of put it on liberally. I want to make sure that I've got a good scent. Now, I'm standing 3 feet away from this thing and I can smell it. So it's a very strong smell that deer will smell, and it will pull them to this area. You can already see below, I've got a scrape already started. I've got 2 more down this logging road that I did the same thing on. And so this will work really well. It's really worked good for me in the past. I'm not going to bring you anything on the channel that I don't think works, that I don't have real life experience with. And this is something that has worked really well for me in the past, is spreading this branch butter on these limbs. Now, if you don't have naturally occurring limb that's going to be perfect for a licking branch for a scrape, you can get up and you can hang a grapevine off the top. Now, when I do that, I'm using gloves. You want to try to limit your scent as much as you possibly can when you're doing that. Obviously, that's kind of key. Now, a lot of guys will recommend putting those out early. I've never done that. I'm sure that would be great because that scent would be gone by the time this time of the year. You come in, you add a little branch butter to it, and you're off to the races with your scrape. A lot of us procrastinate. We don't get around to it in February, March like we should. This is a good way of doing it in that case. If you are going to do a grapevine, you just take a few zip ties, you find a branch that's higher, and then you cut that grapevine down, put this preorbital scent on it, and you want to make sure you put it down on the low side, because if you put it to where they're going to use it, when that branch sheds all its leaves, it's going to raise up. And then at that point, it could go up higher than what the deer are. So make sure you put that down on the low side so that when that branch loses its leaves, it's still at a spot where those deer can actually reach it and utilize that mock scrape. This has worked really well for me in the past, and this is a spot that I'm going to target to hunt those deer during that pre-rut phase, during that early October all the way through late October. I'm going to be sitting in my tree stand when I have the wind available to hunt this stand. This will be a really good spot, and this is how I set these up across the farms. They work really, really well, and I would highly recommend you trying some as well. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Y'all smash that like and subscribe button.